Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about how to get clients. Now the goal of this video guys is to direct my attention to those of you who are struggling to get clients. You've tried a couple of strategies and you just seem to not find anything work for you. So my job today with this presentation is just to give you some clarity and give you a sort of framework you can use in order to get to the desired result, which is to get some clients. I'll be taking you through the process step by step, so watch this video if you are interested in getting clients. Now it's a long video guys because my job is to add value to you guys. So I don't just want to brush through things, I actually want to go into them in depth and make you understand so that you have full clarity on what you need to do. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Okay guys, so just a little bit about me, since you're probably thinking who is this guy and why should I listen to him? So I've been a graphic designer for a decade and I started my journey in 2014. So it's been about a decade now where I have been a graphic designer. I've always been interested in design from a young age. I've worked for clients in various avenues of graphic design ranging from logo design, so that's lettering in particular. So I was very interested in typefaces and lettering and logo types. So I studied that and I moved into brand identity design from that. So I started to do more of the overall branding, the packaging and all sorts which sort of stem off of logo design. From that I moved into product advertising. So I started to focus more on creating advertisements via Photoshop in order to promote a specific product. And as of late I've really focused in on poster design and thumbnail design guys. So this is where I specialize in at the moment, and this is where I have really started to find my passion for teaching as well. So again guys, I teach thumbnail design at the moment with the intention that you will learn more skills and that you can then be able to go ahead and earn a living for yourself. That's ultimately why we do what we do. Everyone learns skills for the benefit of being able to exchange it for monetary value. It's not true in every case guys, but I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you want to be able to earn from learning these skills. So again, this is the purpose of the video and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay guys, so let's just talk now about some misconceptions that people have, especially when it comes to the freelance game. So let's just cover these real quick. So the first one is you don't need to be a master to start earning. Now for some reason guys, people think that you need to be a master or you have to have an insane amount of skills in order to be able to earn a living doing what you do. Especially in the thumbnail design game, you do not need to be a master at all. And there's actually a lot of misconceptions about this idea that you need to be perfect at what you do before you can even start earning. So don't worry if you don't know everything, because you do not need to know everything to just start. Moving on to the second one. So you don't need to work for quote unquote famous people in order to earn a good income. Because what you'll find is that a lot of people will actually tend to correlate earning a good income to working for someone which has clout. For example, if you're not working for Mr. Beast or any of these famous YouTubers, then you must not be earning much of an income from thumbnail design. And this is just simply not the case. You can earn a very good income just working with YouTubers in general, which may not even have a lot of subscribers. Moving on, you don't need to be from a certain demographic or age bracket. And this is the beauty of freelancing guys. There's no discrimination between your age, what color you are, where you're from. None of these things matter in the freelance game. What matters is that you can provide the service to the end user and that you have good customer service skills in order to just make the process flow much better. And finally, you don't need hundreds of clients to build a sustainable freelance business. Now the benefits in thumbnail design is that a client will have to come back to you in order to receive another thumbnail. So it's a reoccurring business model. You're continuously providing a service on an ongoing basis. It's not something that you do once and then it's over. You're working with the same client over and over again, given that you actually do the job well. So guys, you can only really work with about 3 to 5 clients at a time if you are working with them on an ongoing basis, meaning that you are repeating the same service with the same clients. And guys, that's all you really need to generate a good income. You do not need to work with hundreds of different people. Now you have to establish a clear vision. Is freelancing something you want to do part-time, or do you want to do it as a full-time gig? Because some people might just want to do this as a hobby, and that's totally fine, there's no problems with that. And then you have other people which literally want to make this their full-time business and really build something which can sustain themselves. So just having a clear understanding of what it is you want to achieve will help you tremendously in knowing what you need to do. Once you've established that, now you need to ask the question of how much money you want to earn doing this. Now I know there's going to be someone watching which is going to say $1 million, but let's just be practical for a moment. I'm pretty sure that most of you would be very happy to just replace your full-time income, maybe working at a job or whatever you're doing, and replace that with a freelancing income. So pick a number, guys, which is relative to your situation, which would allow you to be able to replace your full-time income. So for example, in this case, let's just take $1,500 a month, and we need to break that down into what we would earn on a daily basis in order to achieve that result. So in this case, if we wanted to earn $1,500 a month, then we'd need to earn $48 per day. Doing this one step alone will give you an insane amount of clarity in how to achieve your financial goals. This is because you're breaking it down into digestible chunks, in which it makes it easier for you to actually plan out how to reach those daily targets. Since I'm teaching thumbnail design, $48 per day is pretty easy to achieve. You really only need to, for a beginner designer, let's say, only do about 2 to 3 thumbnails. That's the tops, and you'll be able to earn that income. Now again, if you are more intermediate and your skills are really good, you could easily make this with just 1 thumbnail. Okay, so now it's time to assess your skill level. Now by this point, I'm assuming that you've already established if you want to work either full-time or part-time, and you've established how much money you want to make. Now I'm going to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your skills on this slider? If you have answered anywhere below 4, I would encourage you to continue to practice on your skills, because you are not yet ready, in my personal opinion, to start freelancing. Once you get to about 4 or a 5, which means that you can at least do the basics of thumbnail designs at a good level, only then would I recommend that you start to focus on freelancing. Guys, everybody needs to spend some time working on their skills, and so there shouldn't be such a rush to always focus on the money aspect of things. Focus on developing your skills, and as a byproduct, you ultimately get what you want in the end. And understand, guys, that the higher your skill level, the easier it becomes to get clients. This is just simple supply and demand, guys. The higher you are on this scale, the more in demand your services will be, and the less supply there will be of you in the market. So the people with a skill level in this region typically are the ones which are making the most, and that's not a surprising fact. Okay guys, moving on. So now it's time to pick a platform that you want to reside on as your sort of business profile. So we are going to start off by selecting a platform to post on. This can be either Instagram, Twitter, which is known as X, TikTok, or any other platform. I would recommend, guys, that if you are starting out in the thumbnail design space, to focus more on Instagram and Twitter, as that's where you're going to find most of your clients, in my personal experience. Post your work on these sites and create practice projects which showcase your skills. So guys, you want to make sure that you are presenting to the world your skills. You have to understand, guys, that people want to see your skills before they even decide to work with you. You want to make it as obvious as possible for people to see what your capabilities are. Just make sure you're posting on these sites so that you are visible to the public. People should be able to find you easily, and it shouldn't be a hassle for people to find you online. Having an online presence is key in this day and age, especially if you want to build an online freelance business. You need to be findable and reachable. So guys, this is the digital age. If you are not on these social media platforms, then you're just making it much harder for yourself to build a successful freelance business. So my advice to you guys is, if you don't already have an account on these platforms, create an account and post content related to what you are trying to sell. You don't need to post client work on there, guys. You just simply need to post content related to thumbnail design in this instance. So just post any thumbnail projects that you've been creating. You can even recreate the thumbnail designs that I show in my tutorials, and you can use that as practice projects. Just simply post them on your feed, and that alone will help you communicate the message that you're a thumbnail designer, and when you are handling and dealing with clients, they can go ahead and look at that stuff, and it will help them understand what you do. A website is not enough, and portfolio websites are also not enough. So just remember, guys, that in this day and age, most people's attention reside on these social media platforms, so you're going to get the best bang for your buck, and really you're going to get most of your clients from these platforms. Now, the main question, how do I get clients? If you are starting from scratch, the odds are not in your favor. Clients, for the most part, will not just come knocking on your door. You have to make an effort to acquire clients, but how do you do that? Through outreach. But before this, you need to know where to look to find clients. Find out where your potential customers and clients reside. For a thumbnail designer, a potential customer is anyone with a YouTube channel or channels. So remember guys, we are working with YouTubers here because YouTubers are the ones that need thumbnails. Pretty much common sense, guys. So you're going to have to work with YouTubers. So what better way than to use the platform itself to find your clients? So your best place is to start on YouTube itself. Scan for channels which are active and clearly have the potential for their thumbnails to be improved. So guys, whilst you are on your search for YouTube channels, make sure that they are active, which means that they're constantly posting, because you want to work with clients that are going to be actively needing thumbnails. There is no point in reaching out to a YouTuber which is not active because they will not need thumbnails, so it sort of defeats the purpose. So you need to reach out to people who are posting consistently because those are the people who will need thumbnails. You can also target specific niches which match your interests and preferred thumbnail styles. If you have a preferred thumbnail style, something that you find comes more easier to you than other thumbnail styles, for example, if you like doing finance thumbnails as opposed to sort of this Mr. Beast style of thumbnails, then reach out to people in that niche. Once you arrive on their pages, guys, try to find contact information or links to their other social media outlets where you can go ahead and send a direct message. Now you may be thinking it's very well and easy just reaching out to people, but what do you actually say that makes them want to work with you? And this is where, guys, you create an irresistible offer. So reach out to the owners of these channels either via email, Instagram, or other social media outlets. Propose your service to the potential client in a way that makes it a win-win for them. And I'll show you how to do that. So this is where you must be willing to make sacrifices up front in return for the potential to gain a long-term client. Now it's very important to understand the dynamic, guys. You are reaching out to a potential client and you are offering your service to them. That person simply does not owe you anything, they don't know you, and you are just reaching out to them offering your service. This is the equivalent to getting a random cold call, whereas you probably wouldn't be interested in what the person has to say. So why would you expect the client or the potential client that you're messaging to have an interest in your service? And this is where you have to understand a bit of psychology and understand that you must offer something first and add value to a person before expecting them to even give you light of day. So what you will need to do is propose to create a thumbnail or two for them free of charge, and in return, if they like your work, we'll work with you on a paid basis if they would like to continue receiving your service. This way there is no risk to the client. It's a win-win situation. If they don't like your work, they will simply not move forward beyond your trial phase, and if they would like to continue, they are paying for a service that they have already had a good experience with. So offer your services for free in the initial stages, and if the client is happy with your work and would like to continue to work with you, you have just now earned a long-term client. Now I know that working for free is not something that most people are willing to do, and I can understand, right? You make an effort and people don't give you anything in return, so why would you waste your valuable time? I completely understand that train of thought, but when you're starting out, nobody owes you anything. Competition is high, the market is full of people who all want to achieve the exact same result as you. Those who separate from the pack are those who are willing to get their hands dirty, make some sacrifices, and do things that most people will not do. So if you look at this graph, guys, just imagine that all these pink circles, all these pink dots are people who weren't willing to work for free in the initial stages. They thought that they valued themselves. Here, on the other hand, you have these two people which just decided to work for free in the initial stages, and over time they were able to build a clientele. They had people that received value from them up front, and in return they ended up working with these people. These are the people right here which end up making all of the money and are the people who end up separating from the pack. So my advice to you guys is to be like these two people right here. They took the risk, they made the sacrifices, and in the end they end up separating from the pack. It's very easy to build a clientele these days because most people are actually not willing to do this. So it's actually not difficult because there's very little competition in the sense of people willing to make that initial investment. So let me just just reinstate this again, guys. Nobody owes you anything when you start out. Those of you, and there's only a few of you, that are actually willing to make the effort are going to be the ones with all the clients in the end. This is simply how it works. You have to start off somewhere, and if you're not willing to work for free, then you're simply, in my opinion, not passionate enough to want to make this a reality. I'm not saying to work for free forever, I'm simply saying that for the initial stages, make the effort to work for free because it gives you the opportunity to land some clients, and from that point you can start charging. Once you start to attain clients and you start to receive a lot of demand for your service, then it makes no sense to work for free, and by that point you should be generating some form of income. Working for free is what's going to help you to get your foot in the door. Once you're 1 foot in, then it's really down to you to make the most of that situation. Now that that's out of the way, I want to give you guys 4 more ways in which you can go ahead and get some clients. I want you all to receive value out of this video, so I'll give you a couple more strategies that you can use to get your clients. Okay, so number 1, reach out to people via Instagram DM, offer your service free of charge. For example, you offer 1 to 3 thumbnails in exchange for a shout out, and the shout out brings eyes to your page, with some people being interested in your service. These are typically more warmer leads. They generally will inquire and ask for your rate. You are essentially leveraging their audience. Now, when I was first starting off in my design career, I really used this strategy a lot, and I got a lot of clients through this method. So for example, just find and source a couple of content creators which have a large following. They don't necessarily have to be content creators, but more so interested in content creation, so that their following will be interested in content creation as well. It's the perfect audience for you. So what you need to do is reach out to these people with these large pages and offer your services free of charge. Maybe you do 1 to 3 thumbnails for them in exchange for a shout out. So you'll do this, for example, on Instagram, and when they give you a shout out, say they have like 100,000 followers, 50,000 followers, one story and shout out on that page can bring through a crazy amount of leads. It doesn't even need to be that large of an audience, but anything over sort of 5,000, you can really sort of see a return in your investment of effort. When I personally used this strategy myself, I ended up getting a lot of people messaging me asking for my rates. They just assumed that the person who shouted me out paid for my service, and that is where the beauty lies. People will message you not knowing that you did the free work for that page. They will simply ask for your rate, and from there it's really down to you and the personal interaction you have with that lead in order to land that client. So let's understand the dynamic here, guys. The person who will be messaging you will be a follower of that page. Now, if they're following that page, either they're very interested in that page or they just simply look up to the person who owns that page. So if that person shouts you out, then those who are followers and fans of that page will simply have an interest in your service, maybe because they want to imitate that page and be like them. So they think that by working with you, they can get closer to that goal. It's really a lot of psychology, but it makes a lot of sense. And so we, as thumbnail designers, can capitalize on this and use this as a way to get clients. Post process videos on TikTok sharing your thumbnail design process. You can even give tips and tricks or just make general content around thumbnail design. Since TikTok has great reach, you will be able to generate leads, especially if you promote your services within the video. You can duplicate your efforts by posting your videos to YouTube Shorts to amplify your results. This one's pretty self-explanatory, guys. TikTok, as you may know, has incredible reach, and so you can really target a lot of people just from one TikTok video. These people may not be exactly the targeted audience you need, but you can reach a lot of people. So if you just simply post videos on TikTok, whether it's just sharing your process or any sort of thumbnail design content, you're going to be able to reach a lot of people. So if you just promote your services within your videos, you give yourself a really good chance to generate some interest. Since YouTube Shorts also has a similar amount of reach, you can duplicate your efforts by just simply using the video that you created for your TikTok and then just re-uploading that to YouTube Shorts. That way you're basically amplifying the results you get. Moving on to strategy number 3. Join and engage in creator communities. These are communities which are related to content creation. This can be Facebook groups, online forums, example Reddit, Discord servers, Twitter, and aim to add value by providing thumbnail advice. This can be in the form of tips and tricks, feedback, advice, sharing your experiences, and this can lead to inquiries and potential client work if people find value in what you share. So guys, another way that you can get clients is by simply engaging in the community. Add value to people by sharing your tips and tricks, advice, and people will really appreciate that. And if people are receiving value from you on a consistent basis, you will end up framing yourself as a professional or an expert in what you're talking about. This is just going to help you generate interest in your service. Since you're in their community, you're adding value, people will feel a connection with you and would rather work with you as opposed to just a random freelancer on the internet. And again guys, if you have a preferred thumbnail style, then it makes sense to join communities which are interested in that style. For example, if you're very interested in the finance niche or make money online niche, then it makes sense to join communities which are focused on that. And let's be honest guys, you're more likely to gain clients operating in these communities because more likely than not, you can add more value to that potential client. Because you have an interest in that specific niche, you'll be able to understand that niche better than most people, and because of that, you will be able to add more value to the client. Okay, strategy number 4. Now this is one of those strategies which most people don't even really realize because it sort of goes under the radar. It's not something that most people even think about, especially when you specialize in one thing. So build relationships with video editors. Typically, video editing clients are also interested in the thumbnail design service, as both contribute to content creation, add value and help each other, and you can refer work to each other and can even share a percentage cost of total earnings from a finished project, which benefited from the referral. You are both leveraging each other's talents to reach a common goal, which is to gain clients. So as I mentioned guys, a lot of these video editors have clients which are very interested in content creation in general. So it's also likely that a lot of them will be interested in the thumbnail design service. So this is where the opportunity lies. So if you just develop some relationships with some video editors, if they ever land a client, you can simply ask if they would like to partner with you and simply add your service as part of their overall package. By doing this, the video editor can add more value to the client and also receive some form of compensation because you will be giving them a cut of your earnings. Now you're giving a percentage of your earnings because you are relying on them to bring the client to you. So they essentially bring money to your table, and the reward you give them is the percentage which you both agree on. So guys, if you make use of these 4 strategies, then it's almost a matter of time before you start to gain a client or two. This is my belief, and this is just from my personal experience. Just make sure again to focus on building your skill set, and once you have a decent enough skill set, just implement these strategies alongside having the understanding that in the initial stages, do not fear working for free. When you couple that with these strategies I've provided for you, then it's just a recipe for success. The only person that can stop you from achieving what you want to achieve is yourself. Just remember that guys. You have to take personal responsibility, especially if you want to build a successful business. You cannot blame the environment, you cannot blame your circumstances, you simply have to take things into your own hands and make the most out of what you have. We are on fire guys. Now if you're still here, then I know you are serious about wanting to make this a reality, so I commend you for sticking around, and I know you will achieve something great one day. Back to the video. Freelance sites, a race to the bottom. Now me personally guys, I do not like freelance sites, and I'll explain to you why that is. Freelance sites have their benefits. Thousands of people search for designers on these websites to get design services. It is a valid and commonly used way to get clients. However, these are not your clients. They are the platform's clients. You cannot work with these clients outside of these platforms, and you are penalized for doing so, leading to bans and suspensions on your own freelance accounts. Freelance sites also take a cut of your earnings, and the profit acquired from the completed projects is split between you and the site. You are also in a pool of thousands of other designers, all willing to price drop and sell their services at a lower price point than you in order to advance their own ranking. It is a race to the bottom. This makes it hard to build a sustainable business, as you are encouraged to undervalue your service. Now guys, I know there are some people on these freelance sites which actually make a good income. They have a steady stream of clients coming in through the platform which are interested in using their service, but these are the very few. And if you are in a pool of, let's say, 10,000 designers, most of which are actually pricing themselves really low, it's very hard to compete in that space, no matter how good your skills are. Let's say, for example, that you price your services really low in order to compete on these freelance sites. What will happen is you will start to get an influx of clients, but those clients are literally working with you because of your price. The second you increase your prices, you will see most of these clients will no longer share any interest with you, and because there are so many alternatives to you, it becomes hard to convince a client to stay with you. A client will simply just move on to the next designer. So there really isn't much of an incentive for designers to be working in these freelance sites. You are just simply encouraged to price down, and there isn't really much room for growth. Not to mention, guys, that if you lost your freelance account for whatever reason, then you've just simply lost all your clients. That alone should scare you from working on these sites. On the flip side, if you had worked with these clients outside of these sites and just simply used your own initiative, you would be able to charge freely, not have to take any percentage cuts, and you'd be able to build a client base which isn't going anywhere anytime soon. That is your client base, you've built it yourself, and nobody can take that away from you. It may take more effort, no, it will take more effort to build your own client base, but if you go ahead and do that, you will be more fulfilled, you won't feel like you're being controlled by anyone, and it will be much more worth it in the long run. Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use these freelance sites, I'm just giving my personal opinion. I'm very aware that these sites provide opportunities to people, and people have made a living just working on these sites. So if we look at it from that perspective, it's a great opportunity for many people in the world. My goal with this video is to add value to you guys, so I'm giving you my insight based on my own experience to help you guys navigate your journey more easily. Okay, let's now move into pricing. Pricing is subjective. There is no universal rule that makes you have to price at a certain rate. Most people use reason. The best strategy is simply to look at the average market rate that thumbnail designers are charging and start from there. Starting off low does not devalue your service. It is simply a stepping stone to being able to charge what you really want. Once you gain more clients and your services become more in demand, you can gradually increase your rates. The goal before increasing your rates should be to get to a position where increasing your rates will not affect you. Now guys, when you're first starting out and you're trying to build a client base, then the focus should really be on just acquiring clients. Pricing is really important, especially if you want to build a sustainable business. But at the same time, when you're first starting out, guys, you really want to just focus on gathering about 3 to 4 clients that are working with you on a consistent basis. But as you grow and your services become more in demand, you are now in the power position and you can really just dictate what you want. You can charge higher prices, and if these clients do not want to work with you because of that, you can always go ahead and work with the next client in the queue. Because you have a high demand, there is really no worry or risk for you in losing a client. So again guys, if you're just starting out, just look at the average rate across all boards for beginner designers in the thumbnail design space. How much are they charging for thumbnails? And that's really a good reference point to start with. Just simply charge that price, and if you start to build a clientele, then you know that in the future you can definitely increase your prices, especially when the demand for your service increases. Now, the reason why I'm not telling you to charge a really high amount, especially in the beginning, even if you have good skills, is because you simply do not have any clients. So the focus needs to be on that. And that's why you really just need to build a solid foundation, and in the long run, you will be able to reach those price points. If you start charging high from the beginning, then you're really missing out on the opportunity to gain a lot of clients. You're going to scare a lot of clients away. You have to look at things from the client's perspective. If you have no track record, if you haven't done a lot of client work, and you have no results to show to that client, then it's very unlikely that you can just charge a rate like that. $50, for example, guys, is a very high amount for people to pay for a thumbnail. Now again, this varies on people's budgets, but for the most part, for the general public, if we're talking about 90% of people, $50 is a high amount to pay for a thumbnail. So instead of losing the potential client, focus on adding value to that client and building a catalog of work that you can then show to the next person. As this stacks up, you can now charge that higher rate with confidence, knowing that you have the results to prove why you are worth that rate. And again, I'll just give you another example, guys, so that you understand. Say for example, I just started thumbnail design yesterday. Now I'm just going to propose my service to a random person on the internet and charge them $100 for my thumbnail. Do you think that person is going to pay for my service? The answer is absolutely not. Of course they wouldn't. Why would they? Why would someone pay $100 for a service which has no track record and there's no evidence of any results that they've generated for their clients? And this is why I've said, guys, you should always just start low, build up your portfolio and generate results for people, and you'll definitely be able to charge more in the long run. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it there, guys. With the information I've provided you in this video, you will definitely be able to acquire some clients, especially if you implement the strategies that I mentioned. If you'd like to see part 2 of this video, just let me know in the comment section down below and I can make another follow-up video covering more aspects of the freelance game. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and until next time, peace.